When you come to Finland, one thing you notice is, even though this place is full of pubs, you don't have the clubhouse mentality, the old school pub place where you get good cunts drinking good beer and having a good time. I'm here today in the legendary Aussie Bar Campy with Bejay Visser, founder and CEO, and he's in a bit of trouble at the moment. What's going on, Bejay?
Mate, I went to the bloody gym yesterday.
Yeah.
First time in years, decided to get a personal trainer. Yeah, and he conned me halfway through the session as well, so I booked up another 10, which cost me an arm and a leg. No, just went over and above what I should have been doing, and I virtually can't walk at the moment.
Oh,
so it's not good. Too much physical training.
So the lesson is don't try.
Listeners, don't drink so much beer at work, so you have to go to the gym.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, it's good. I'm getting there. It took me about 7 minutes to climb down the stairs this morning at home. But no, we're getting through it, and no pain, no gain, I guess. So.
Loving your John Wayne walk at the moment.
Exactly,
it's looking good.
It is. It looks like war words.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so Aussie Bar, this is the first place I came to when I came to Finland. Heard great stories about it, saw some ludicrous shit online, and was like, yeah, I need to come to this place. You guys set this up, what was it, 10 years ago now?
Yeah, just over 10 years now. So we, I mean, myself, much like probably a lot of expats here, we got sick and tired, well, I personally got sick and tired of backpacking around Europe, going to Aussie bars, or what they call Aussie bars, boomerang bars, shark bars, and all the bits and bobs. They got them in Thailand and stuff, but Western Europe mainly. And you know, you'd walk into the pub as an Antipodean expat, and you know, they're not even Aussie staff or Kiwi staff or even South African staff. They don't even speak English, and they sell fucking Fosters. And I'm like, all the Europeans are brainwashed with this Fosters because of the Formula One many years ago when it pumped in XYZ about of money.
Is that what it was?
It was brainwash material.
Yeah.
So long story short, they pretty much nailed it out there, and of course Fosters I don't even think is made in Australia anymore. They make it here in Finland.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since the 80s.
No, they stopped selling it. I think you can go back into the Botley store even in New Zealand, and there might be 2 or 3 dingy, mouldy cases of Fosters at the bottom of the pit. But long story short, got sick and tired of seeing that, and of course I love that movie Cocktail with Tom Cruise. I love that movie.
I can see you look a bit like Tom Cruise in all fairness.
Oh well, thank you. But I'm a bit taller than him. But no, got sick of that and said I want to have my own bar. Yeah. So I actually started out in London, had my first nightclub at the age of 20, sorry. And I didn't own it, but it's another story. I got caught up with the IRA, and that's it. we'll do that in another shoot. But to be fair, got sick and tired of it, and did a runner for Holland. And I had to live in Holland under hiding for about 6 months.
Oh my God!
Got caught at the beer festival in what's it called, Oktoberfest. That's another story as well. But then I thought, shit, I've got to escape this. So I thought I'd go over to Scandinavia. Why would you go to Scandinavia? So the sun does not come up in the winter, and the sun does not go down in the summer. So I mean, I've been here 16 years now. Yeah. And long and the short of it is I thought, well, shit, I've got to do something. Yeah. So I worked my ass off, just cleaning toilets actually. I mean, I was a bit of a dumbass. I'm not the brightest spark in the tool shed. And left school. Well, I got kicked out of school for making dildos in woodwork. I'm not deviating from the actual question you asked, but so I sort of had to leave a bit earlier, and I think I dropped out about 16 years old. So, but you know, as I said, not the brightest spark in the tool shed.
How did you overcome the splinter problem with the dildo, which is made out of wood?
They were smooth. I smoothed them down on the lathe. We had different models.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that if you like.
Yeah.
And so over in Finland, of course, don't speak the lingo. Yeah. And nobody wants to employ anybody that doesn't speak it. So I was only really good for cleaning bathrooms and toilets. Yeah. And one thing led to another.
I know that feeling.
Horrible. So rock up here in Finland, and they've got this thing called what's called like a vappupäivä. Yeah. Like May Day. London, they do riots. Finland, they drink. Yeah. And rock up at this park, which is called Gaivapuista, and all of a sudden, all these Finns are wearing these white hats. Yeah. And I'm like, where the fuck am I? Just got off the plane, year 2000, rock up to Gaivapuista, and I could have sworn there was 50,000 sailors in the park.
Is the Second World War just ended?
Yeah. It was really, really cool. So, you know, I thought this country's fantastic. There's no riots. Everybody's drunk. They're warming up. gorgeous.
Yeah.
Got to be careful, I'm married. But they are really,
Well, you
really
found a
good.
gorgeous one, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's
And
it.
I mean, no disrespect. I mean, I love the Finnish culture, but the men are ugly, the women are gorgeous, and it's just
it's just unfair, isn't it?
yeah, it's unfair. So that's why they put us here. And I think
Yeah.
that was another reason to start an Aussie bar, a true, authentic Aussie bar.
Yeah.
So I got in with a crowd, met a guy on a golf course, producer. I'm trying to make the long story short. And
Mate,
ended
it's
up,
all good.
he asked me, he said, I'm a record producer for Sony. And I'm like, what? I said, I can sing. And he goes, what, you're a singer? I said, yeah. And he said, where do you sing? I said, in the shower. So never thought any more of it. And it turns out he took my phone number, rang me the next day and wanted me to record for Eurovision in 2000. So there's another story.
See,
We'll come back to
I
that.
didn't even know that was the case.
So, but it turns out his boss actually owned a bar, and he was a part of the Leningrad Cowboys,
Yeah.
which was a big,
I've heard of them, yeah.
big thing many years ago.
Yeah.
And he owned a bar. He said, "Look, do you want to come and run an Aussie bar for me?" We didn't get along. He didn't really know, didn't really talk and consult with me.
Yeah.
So I thought, fuck you. I've had this little scheming plan.
Was that
'cause
the
of
Outback, was it?
The Outback.
Yeah, I've heard about this place.
Dark
Yeah.
and dingy and
Yeah.
sleazy and dirty.
Opposite Molly's.
You would have never been allowed in there, Jimmy. You would have never.
I'm not
ever-
allowed in most places.
Mate, there's certain people,
Yeah, yeah,
clientele allowed in places, but you would not have been allowed in one. We make exception with this Aussie bar.
Yeah.
But no, so I took up the staff, took the security, took all my network resources that I had built up there, and said, fuck it, met this restaurant company, and they said, show us your plan.
Yeah.
I didn't have a pot to piss in.
Yeah.
Had, I think I gathered up and raped around for about 15 grand.
Yeah.
And I built this bar on a shoestring.
Yeah.
So we got the location, got a bit of a loan, they supported me, of course, and just blew it out of the water. I do believe back then, for at least the first 5 years, it was one of the most popular bars and most profitable, successful bars in the country for many years. And I think it just became one of those bars that you get away with murder. There was no rules. It's horrible how the times change. Whereas we had all the water pistols out and stuff, and you do that today, you get done for sexual harassment.
Yeah, exactly.
So bring back the good old days, I say. So we're still running 10 years on, and in fact me and my crew have we started franchising about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think we've opened about 6 Aussie bars now. We've got 4 running currently. And
You've got the Love Boat in Turku.
the Love Boat in Tortical. Man, that's a big love boat. I've never actually built a ship, which we did, because the other one we had to blow up and because it's sinking. But we built the new one last year, and I've never thought it was possible to construct a ship that was built solely for alcohol consumption and good times. And I think that really does represent the true Aussie Antipodean sort of feel, and it's a pretty crazy place. So it's only open seasonal.
How much beer does it hold?
Oh, we go, I think 5,000-6,000 litres a week, and
Jesus
that's
Christ.
just the mainstream beer. It's one of the biggest selling units in the country, but it's doing very well. It's only open seasonally, but my brother and I actually own that. So then we've got the nightclub run by the Helsinki Casino.
Yeah.
And we've got one in Tampere as well. So the plans really now is just to, what I'm doing now, my projects now are to present to the board of directors, which I'm sadly the CEO of, and I'm the chairman, so I've got to sort of present to the other guys, get the vote to
Come on.
open up in Sweden early next year. So we're actually going to pump in our own money into it, and get the first one as a bit of a showroom. So sort of that's what we've been doing. But I think we got a review from the Lonely Planet guide a few years back, stating we were the most authentic Australian bar in Western Europe, based on the fact of the staff, all the cliches that are in the bar, which is, I think you've got to have the cliches.
Mate, I love it. Like,
I mean, you do get the Aussie guys coming in from off the cruise ships and stuff on holiday. Oh man, fucking all this shit. And it's like, come on, dude, it's not really for you. It's for everybody else. So
it's the taste, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we sort of were a little bit disappointed. My partner and I, Scott Fraser, and back in the day, we actually, because they don't actually have a consulate for New Zealand here, or an embassy here. And I think they've got an Australian consulate.
They used to. Now you have to go to Stockholm as well.
Sweden.
Really?
Yeah,
I think Kiwis are the same. Well, we applied to be the consulate. He
Yeah.
applied because he's an Aussie,
Yeah,
poor
yeah.
bastard. And I'm the Kiwi.
He's a sheep thief. If
He's
you look
the
in the
sheep thief.
you look in the bars, you see the sheep thief on the wall. That's Scotty boy.
Yeah. So he applied to be the consulate of Australia here and make the bar the actual office, and I did the same. We were really let down, and they ended up giving it to a Finnish woman that didn't even speak English.
Just to some woman, like.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
Jesus
Pretty
Christ.
much. And I said, well, hold on a minute. What do you need a consulate being able to speak Finnish for? They need to be able to speak, monkey, Australian, or what do you call it? What do you guys speak? Airboat. No, I don't know. Sorry, mate. That's what you guys call it.
I literally don't understand a word he says.
Do we sound different when we speak?
Massively.
Do you reckon he sounds funny?
I think he sounds like a stereotype, essentially. It's like Crocodile Dundee. Exactly. He's Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, get another shrimp on the barbie.
In case you guys didn't notice, if you can't hear, if you don't notice, right, BJ is actually a Kiwi. Okay, he's in an Aussie bar, but he is a Kiwi.
The fact of the issue is with that, I want to clarify that.
Yeah.
No real Aussie could actually run an Aussie pub.
It's true, mate.
They couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery. They had to get a Kiwi in to do it. It's really sad, but it's true.
You can't like judge yourself if you are yourself. You need someone else to look at it. And that's why I think it works so well with you guys.
Absolutely. But no, it's been a journey, and I've really enjoyed it. We've got we do all the live music. The barbecue's outside in minus 30 degrees Celsius temperatures. In the winter. Exactly. We've done some pretty dodgy parties, pimps and prostitutes and porno hospitals and all the whole stream. And I mean, it's phasing out a bit now because of the way people are.
Yeah.
Social media's become more of a, back in the day when I started, I mean, Facebook wasn't even out, 2006, 5, or whatever. So, there's all these extra things, and Tom Cruise and Cocktail, the reason I started this, didn't have to worry about Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. Yeah. Now we're going to do all that, and the managers are working overtime to get all this done. You almost need to employ somebody to run it.
Yeah.
And what's frustrating as a bar owner is, of course, you own the place, you love the place, and you take it to heart. So if somebody posts a very negative comment about, they might not like the way you sound, or you might say something out of text, through cultural indifferences, they can really, the customers actually got so much freedom to put their voice out there that can really affect a business.
Yeah, because they can post a review and there's nothing you can do about it.
No.
And if you do want to do something about it, it can take you days or hours and hours and hours to get it taken down, and you've got to reason with them, which is fine. I love everybody allowed to have a voice, and that's fine, but you get you can see the review time, 3:30 in the morning, Saturday morning. Oh, that guy's drunk. He's just been kicked out of the bar.
I have a problem.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's a good thing, it's a bad thing, but I do get hurt a lot when customers get upset that they don't like something. We did used to have a policy that the customer's always wrong. And it's it was always
loved it. But that's what everything in Australia is like anyway. That's the point. I mean, I love the fact that you all speak English at the bar, because this is an Aussie bar. Everything's in English, and it should be. It is that way. It's the authentic experience.
I think that actually made us sort of peak in the day, because Finns. This is the cool thing about Finland. As I said earlier, I love the culture here. I really do. And they can understand. They're very intelligent people. Very intelligent people, Finns, and they can read English. They can write English. They understand English. The confidence, get it off the tongue. So coming into Aussie Bar was like a free English lesson.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I used to teach English here. Not that I ever did English at school. I can't even write my own name. But the point being is, I used to charge out XYZ to sit down and talk about the weather with Finnish entrepreneurs.
So there's Finns out there going 8, 9, 10.
10.
What are you trying to say? 10. My teacher says this is correct. 10.
But basically it was just about giving them confidence. So they would come in like that, and they would just sit down, and it was really cool because, without knocking any other Finnish bars around here, is it's very much like one beer, and then that's it. Whereas we were part of the entertainment thing. I think you remember Jimmy. It was, and we still are like that. And it's an entertainment thing, an unwritten skit. We like Coyote Ugly, but without the hot chicks.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good escape as well. If it's minus 30 degrees outside and you come in here, it's warm.
Yeah, you can get naked. It's not a problem.
The boys are running around in board shorts, serving beers and stuff. It's almost like escaping Finland. And
you boys have been. I mean, especially we'll get into rugby in a minute, but when I've always come in here as a rugby player with the rugby clubs, and you come in and this is the place where you can literally behave like you would in your clubhouse back home. You don't get kicked out if you're too drunk. What happens is you're at the bar. This happened to me a few times, and then suddenly
few times, every time,
water appears in front of you, and there's a barman going, "Drink that, mate." All right, I'll do it. Because it's all good crack. There's no bad vibes really. In all fairness, cunts don't last long in here. They go.
I think too, the other good thing, we sort of have an unwritten policy too. People fuck up. They fuck up. And especially if you're known in here, you're sort of part of the family. And everybody except Jimmy. But it's sort of like everybody's part of the family. If you fuck up, you come back the next day and we sort it out, and there's no dramas and we carry on. And I do love that part of it. And that, I think, is the Aussie Intimidian Kiwi way. She'll be right, mate, no dramas. And I love that part about it. And I think that's been enforced naturally by having the Aussie staff anyway. It's something you don't need to tell them, the staff about, or the management. They know how to operate that part of it. And I love that about where we come from in our culture. And
I think you boys have been a real good safety net for Aussies who come over here, or Kiwis or Saffers who basically they come over for a chick, might not work out, they get stuck in their country. There's a chance they'll find work with you boys if you're good boys. And there's loads of boys who've, like Robbie and a few of the boys who've really helped out. They've got work, they made lives here basically, because you boys are like, it's like a family, isn't it?
Well, we had a slogan, Aussie Bar, been destroying marriages since 2006. No, but I think the thing, we've actually had quite a few regular customers actually approach me and thank me without blowing smoke too far up my own ass, and thanking me for actually giving them that nest egg where they could come and release here, come and be in here, and just to get away from either work before they go home, And it was a good thing. It worked out, and we've actually saved a few marriages, believe it or not. And dude, we do free.
It's kind of free therapy, isn't it?
It is free therapy.
With alcohol.
Yeah.
Which that's the best therapy anyway.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I mean, I reckon that this is one of the only bars you can actually walk into with 2 or 3, the barman and 2 or 3 customers behind the bar, and there actually being an atmosphere.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a big wee bar. We've actually only got 100 square meters in here of customer service space. Yet, man, we ram in the customers, and then we've got the 2 big terraces. So especially, it's more of a summer thing. I think everybody will agree with that, because she's pretty dark and depressing outside.
Yeah.
And that's another thing sadly with Finland is, in the it's got 2 sort of cultures. You got your winter culture and your summer culture. Summer culture, the clothes are off and everybody's got a huge smile on their face. Yeah. And then the winter time, everybody's heads down, ass up, and
it's 1970s Moscow. That's what you just think like. I mean, like not in the way that there's like bread lines, in the way that everyone is literally surviving.
Yep. And I think too, it's kind of it's sort of, it's not Soviet, but it's very depressing. Yeah. It's very depressing. I mean, I don't know about you. Do you ski?
No,
do you?
This is started snowboarding last week.
It took him like 2 hours.
Yeah,
he's a twat. He was doing jumps after 2 hours.
I just cannot stand the cold nor the snow. I can't stand the look of it, and it drives me up the wall.
Yeah. I don't mind the cold too much, because like every time you leave the house, you're dressed as though you're going to battle. You've got everything going.
Wait until mate. The thing is with kids, so it's an absolute nightmare. It takes like an hour to get out the fucking house.
Oh, it's just wrong. And then you go, and of course in Australia, I don't know. In Australia, do you take your shoes off at the door?
No,
in New Zealand, do you take your shoes off in Wales?
Yeah, in my house, yes. Yeah.
Do you? Yeah. You got carpet on the floor?
Yeah.
They don't have carpet here. Yeah. I thought that was a weird thing.
Yeah.
And then now, I always said I would always, once I start building my own houses, have my carpet in Finland. And I've built several houses now, and I haven't had carpet in any of them. It's brilliant, because you actually don't get all those carpet mites, and you don't get sick. And
all the allergies and shit. Yeah, exactly.
But it's the shoes off thing. Especially in the winter, you got your big ski boots on, and your socks, 10 pairs of them, and 4 pairs of pants, and it's just ridiculous. Funny wee story on that one. I used to work, as I said, doing toilet cleaning and stuff, just to fill in somewhere in there. Yeah. I was don't laugh.
Right. I can't promise that.
I was a kindergarten teacher in Finland.
Kindergarten cop.
They never checked my criminal record, did they? No, long story short. 40 kids, winter time, and not only winter gear, they have wet weather gear over top of their winter gear.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got gloves, then you've got your winter gloves, then you've got your wet weather gloves. Yeah. 3 pairs of gloves, 2 hands. Yeah. 40 kids, do the math. Then the boots, then the pants, and to go outside 4 times a day, which was regulation.
So essentially all you're doing is getting ready to go outside or coming back in, and then it's time to go out again.
But the funny thing is, you imagine back in Australia doesn't get that cold, but I mean
weird country.
NZ, how cold does Wales get in the winter?
-2 max.
Yeah, New Zealand's about the same, eh?
Yeah.
And we've got the same amount of sheep, haven't we?
We got this, mate, I tell you what, I do like the exotic beauties you guys are pulling in, I have to say.
They've got proper hairdressers for sheep over there. Barbers, proper barbers. They do look
Barbara's beautiful.
Barbara's. But they, I think I lost train of thought where I was going with it.
You're talking about like the weather.
Yeah, the daycare side of things. I mean, they are forced to take these kids outside. There's a limit in Finland. You are not allowed to allow the kids outside. The kids are not allowed to go out after it's -27 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
You imagine telling that to a parent back in Australia and New Zealand. no, your kid can't go outside and play because it's minus 30, but
You can
they
put them in
must
the
go
freezer.
out. They must go outside and play when it's minus 25. They must. It's like, what is
Freezer
going
is minus 20.
minus 20? I think
Yeah.
minus 18, minus 20.
Yeah, so your kid can sit in the freezer. It's
Yeah.
not a problem.
Yeah.
And what is it? When does the fuel not work in your car?
Oh,
it's
that's
about
right.
minus 30 or
Dude,
something.
I got a mate from Russia, right? Honestly, she comes from this place here called Yakutsk, which is so far away. They don't even speak Russian. They speak something which sounds like Turkish, and she looks like an Eskimo bred with a Kazakh. She's like some crazy, like she believes in like the forest spirits and all sorts. She is so out the back, and they cannot turn their cars off between November and April.
You're joking.
Because they'll just freeze. They'll just lock up. So it's just 24/7. The cars are all on.
I think the
like,
coldest
it's,
that ever got here, the record is minus 55 Celsius. That was up in Lapland.
Yeah.
But I think diesel actually freezes at minus 50. But
Yeah.
they put a special chemical in it,
They
don't
must do, yeah. they
Because
must
when you
do.
go, I've got a diesel car, and it's. I know they call it Casa, which is summer.
Yeah, yeah.
So Casa diesel.
Yeah.
And then they've got Talo.
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
here 16 years. I still can't speak Finnish. Hey. Talo. What is Finnish for Talo? We'll work it out
House.
later. Oh no, wrong word then. We'll work it out.
Talvi.
Talvi.
Yeah.
Winter diesel, and then they've got different categories of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I think that actually starts come November because it can freeze.
Yeah.
But, I mean, diesel's pretty good till minus 50.
And then your coolant as well. You have to change in your car.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Oh, and let's talk about the tyres. So I had to go and buy a new set of tyres yesterday for the Volvo. Holy shit! So I rock up to
That's
Finland.
$5,000.
Oh, bang! So you walk in. Yeah, bought my first car a few years back, my new car, and wasn't the Volvo. Driving along, he goes, paid for it, drive out, and I thought, holy shit! Had summer tyres on, and it had just snowed that day.
Yeah.
And he called me back. He said, "You've got to buy winter tyres." I said, "What? It doesn't come with them?" He goes, "No. And you got to buy the rims and the tyres." So we're talking right up, and they got all these fucking spikes on them.
Yeah.
So then you've got to house the tyres because you get a speeding fine, not a speeding fine. You get a fine for wearing your winter tyres in summer, and you get a fine vice versa.
Yeah.
There's a specific date.
Yeah. There's a cut-off date
Yeah.
that you can't sort of.
It's November something. Yeah. Where you just have to do it no matter what.
Yeah, you get done for it.
Yeah.
But it is kind of it's kind of cool because you do get the grip.
Yeah.
You know, I do like that part of it, and you feel really. I mean, the Finns.
Feel
Look
like-
at the Formula One. Look at the World Rally.
Mate.
They're some of the best drivers in the world.
Yeah, what I love is Mikko Häkkinen. He's from Vanta,
Yep.
right next to me. Vanta is like the Brisbane of Finland, basically.
The Brisbane of Finland.
Yeah.
The gold case, mate.
Yeah. It's just an industrial shithole. Well, I love it. I'm from there as well. But anyway, there, Vanta, there's this Grilli, which is basically the street food thing in Finland, where you just basically get fried donuts with meat in, essentially. But this place was Mikko Häkkinen's first ever sponsor, Alan Grilli. And yeah. So like his pictures were all, it was all named after him.
Real?
Yeah.
He would have given him that kickstart.
Exactly. So he gave him like the couple $100. He used to drive around back in the days with Al's grill essentially on his top. And there we are.
I think my ex-girlfriend went to school with Kimi Räikkönen.
Yeah.
So whom I've actually got a few bets on the Formula One
He'll
this
be
year
all right.
with on Bet 365.
He'll be all right.
But he's getting on a bit, but he's whinging and bitching quite a bit. I don't know if anybody out there follows the Formula One.
I watch it a bit. Yeah.
I've just got into it first time ever. I don't get into cars or engines.
It's good to go to, mate. I've been to Silverstone one time. That was a good fucking crack.
Yeah, I think what actually ticked that off for me, got it started for me, was I did Barcelona last year.
Right, yeah.
And that was an experience and a half. But I think they modified the engines a bit, so they were a bit quieter last year.
Yeah. Who'd you go over with?
It's a long story. It was a bit of a boys' trip. So one of those boys' tours we're not supposed to talk about. So
Did you watch any Formula One?
That's
why the cars were quiet, because they had all the windows shut and everything.
We were
a
a really steep grandstand, but I must admit, and we were right coming out of the pit lane where we were sitting, but I must admit, I think I would have missed 75% of the race.
Yeah.
We were too busy at the bar, which was just stupid because the tickets were like nearly 200
Yeah,
euros.
they're not cheap, is it?
No.
Yeah.
But it's motorsport. Yeah, Formula One just starting to get into it, I suppose. But the drivers in Finland are the best in the world.
They are good. Well, what you said about like the winter tire thing, like the bureaucracy in Finland is quite strong. Now you've set up a business in the UK. You've set up a business in Finland. What's the differences? What's it like setting up a business over here?
I think actually setting up a business in Finland is quite easy. In fact, it's a lot easier than I think New Zealand, Australia. We all have similar processes over there.
Yeah.
You know, I think I've got about 7 or 8 companies now.
Yeah.
Or at least that I'm running.
I think that's good.
But you know, they've got the sole trading companies that we have back in Aussie, New Zealand.
Yeah.
They over here they call them toy minimies.
Yeah.
I had one of those when I was doing some English consulting and other bits and pieces. The thing is, once you set them up, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So whereas back home, I think if you go bankrupt, you're screwed for 7 years. You can't do anything.
Okay.
Whereas here, you bankrupt a company, you can go and open up a company the next day.
Yeah.
But the official bureaucracy part of it is quite extensive. I mean, I don't want to bore the viewers, but it's pretty intense. Accounts, all this stuff. And the worst thing is, it's like cat chasing its tail.
Yeah.
You go to set a company up at a registry office, then they need a bank account.
Yeah.
But you can't have a bank account until you've got that formal company name.
Yeah.
And then you need a VAT number, but you can't get this without that. And
Yeah,
and so
you've got an
literally on the
insanity
day
loop.
you're running around with a receipt from the bank stamp.
Someone do
You've got to
something.
And it's just like, I've got a funny wee story about the companies though. My brother, Isaac, who lives in Toroko,
Yeah.
his company name is Fig Jam.
Fig Jam.
Fuck, I'm good, just ask me. Him and I were supposed to form a company called Focus Limited. Fuck off, because you're stupid. And I'm like, bro, we can't do it. And he says, no, we'll do it. See you next Tuesday, Limited. Cunt. And I'm like, Jesus, man, you can't do this. He goes, yeah, we can. They don't really understand.
They don't know what it is,
No, they don't know
exactly.
what we do.
It's in English.
So yeah, and you can get away with, murder doing stuff like that. But it's you do get in a bit of a trap, because even to close a company down here can cost in the vicinity of about 6,000 to 8,000 euros.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
quite a process as well to shut it down. You can take them off the VAT or GST, what we call it back home, register. But yeah, it's a pain in the neck.
We got a mutual friend, Tina, who said 12 years ago, she was like sat in some house party with this giant ginger curly-headed monster on a balcony, having a drink and smoking some cigarettes, and you said, I've got this vision, right? Aussie Bar. We're going to open it. It's going to be massive, and then we're going to open more bars, and in 10 years' time, we're going to go international.
Yeah.
And it happened.
Yeah.
Now, the fact is that in Helsinki, 15% of all businesses are owned by foreigners. Do you think there's something in that?
I think yes, totally. And I think that's probably, I don't know the correct stat, but I would say that sounds about right. And what's concerning right now, inside of what's happening in Helsinki, especially southern part of Finland, with that statistic that I'd like to open up a bit, is that quarter of the population of Helsinki, which I believe is about 500,000 people, and then about 1 million with the greater Helsinki.
That's it, yeah.
A quarter of the speaking population speak in English.
Yeah.
Yet everything is in Finnish and Swedish.
Right.
Only 6% of the population is speaking Swedish.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've got an issue that they need to address really quickly. And the other factors are too with it. I saw it happening when we opened this 10 years ago. The change in, what can I say, internationalism? Is that a word?
Yeah, internationalization.
I just made it up.
Getting the Netflix blend going on.
It's really come to a big thing now. 10 years ago, I won't deny it, I lived out in Espoo, which is about a 30-minute train ride, 15-minute train ride, whatever it was, but it's a wee way out.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I thought I was the only English speaker in this country.
Yeah.
Because I was too scared to come into Helsinki, and even if I was in Helsinki, it was all Finns. There was nowhere near. I mean, when we opened this, no crap at all, no bullshit. There was 30 registered Kiwis living in Finland.
Oh my God.
And 534. The reason we knew this is because we were applying for the consulate.
Yeah.
There's 534 Aussies. Now there's in the vicinity of
And they were all working in bars.
2,500 Aussies, and I think there's about 300 to 400 Kiwis. So it's grown 10 times.
Yeah.
So that's just Aussies and Kiwis.
Yeah.
Imagine what it is for the other cultures and bits
Huge.
and bobs. And of course, sadly, we've got these refugees having to come in here, which is fine. No problem with that at all. But you do see that, and I think every country in Europe's dealing with that. So there's a big influx due to what's happening in Europe with everything, I guess.
Yeah, mate. Well, Brexit. What can I say?
Wow, what a stupid idea that was. That was the dumbest call of the century.
Yeah, mate.
So I say if they want to get out, they've got to go now. We're not waiting until 2019.
Yeah, have they done that? Have
No,
they
they're not doing it.
activated
They're not doing it.
What is it, Article 50?
Yeah.
Article 50 of the Lisbon Treaty. Essentially what's happening right now is the Prime Minister's saying, let's have a think.
Yeah.
That's literally what's happening.
But I was under the understanding that if they said that they wanted to, because they were promised, the British people were promised, they were paying something, don't quote me on these numbers, but I believe it was something like 300 plus million pounds per week was going to the EU.
Yeah.
They said, hey, they're going to, what do you call it? What do you call it when you're running for president or going for a change? Election. So they were doing this thing saying, hey, we're going to take this money and we're going to put it into NHS, the healthcare system. We're going to build new hospitals,
campaign,
make it free healthcare or whatever they said. What happened? Brexit happened. Nothing's happened.
No,
and they've all gone against their word. So now they tried all these other people that voted for it, because it was nearly a swing vote, wasn't it?
Exactly, it was so close, mate.
And they reckon that it would easily be do not exit if they knew what was really going to happen.
The problem was, it was just all done on lies and fear. No one actually gave any facts. Most people, like, there's a town in Wales where I'm from, this hometown, Ebbw Vale, and they were receiving 2 billion quid in EU grants. The town had nothing. They built shopping malls, they built a college, they built sports stadiums. They all voted to exit. They all voted to go. Why? Because the foreigners that don't live in my town are coming in the country.
And
there's no one up there. It's just all bloody ex-miners.
Well, initially, there's
sorry, Ebbw Vale, I love you, but
initially, before back when it was happening, I have quite a few British mates, and some of them are quite financially stable and have a few cottages elsewhere, especially in Spain, and houses and stuff. And I said to them, what's your opinion? Oh yeah, let's get out. Okay, I said, so you've got your holiday batch in Spain, so what's going to happen then? What do you mean? Well, you can't go to Spain because it's in the EU, you've got a British passport. Oh, I think that's all been rectified.
There's 2 million Brits living in Spain, 2 million. And they're all ex-gangsters, basically. It's fucking ridiculous.
Drug lords, Pablo Escobars.
Cheers, boys. Cheers for that.
That was easy, wasn't it?
Oh, there we go.
Sitting in a bar for an hour or so. Let's have a fucking beer. Cheers, lads.
Cheers, boy.
Funny story.
Yeah,
if I may,
good stuff.
Quickly.
Good stuff.
It's, well, we import all our own beers.
Yeah.
So this is a little creatures sadly from Australia. We've got better New Zealand beers there, but being an Aussie bar, we've got to sell Aussie beers. This is one of these craft beers. So I think we've got about 11 different imported beers, but I've been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's pain in the ass, but you've got to have your you can't drink. I mean, Finnish beer's okay, but I don't think they really put a lot of love into it.
No.
It's like 5 versions of the same shit.
Yeah.
Basically.
And what do they call it? Reindeer piss or something like Lappin Kulta.
I've got no problem with it, and I like it, but I do like also the option. I mean, I think it's fair to say that the successful bars here in Finland, the ones who've been around for a long time, they've got a good beer selection, they've got good piss. Yeah.
And I've got to be honest too, it's a lot like Britain. I think Britain has a good range of, Wales.
Thank you.
Wales has a good range of beers, Scotland, England as well. But I think the Aussies and the Kiwis, I'm going to give it more to the Aussies.
Yeah.
They really do know how to make beer.
Oh.
Sadly. But the Kiwis are sort of there as well. We've got our craft beers, and they're bloody good. I mean, we sell Steinlager here and a few other Max, IPAs and bits.
Yeah.
But the Aussie ones, they do win it every time.
Yeah.
And so they are pretty good.
It's checks and balances, nation of alcoholics, they do produce good beer. So
I think that's probably the only good thing that does come out of Australia.
Yeah, in all fairness.
It does. Sorry, Jimmy. Sorry, mate. Sorry.
Well,
I mean, look at the rugby.
Kangaroos.
Rugby. Can we talk about rugby?
Oh my God.
Oh my God, you cheating bastards.
I don't know the sport.
Right, in case you guys don't know, All Blacks essentially are the Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker of rugby rolled into one. They're the good guys and the bad guys, and they kill everyone. Australia, much bigger country, much more population, just can't fucking beat them. You cannot beat them.
We used to be good.
Well, we can't beat them, but it's okay. We're not supposed to be beating them.
I've got to be honest though, if we're going to talk rugby, let's talk top 5 in the world.
Yep.
We're going to give it to you. You're in the top 5. You're in the top 5. New Zealand, Welsh,
on the edge,
Saffers, and I think even English Pumas sort of thing. We're going like that. You got France and Ireland as well.
Yeah.
Ireland's coming up. But let's just talk about our 3 teams. So here's the Welsh, here's the Aussies, and here's the Kiwis.
Yeah, that's it. So
boxing gloves on.
all I gotta say about Welsh rugby is we're a small nation, which is basically, if you can imagine the 16th century transported to today, where every village hates every other village, everyone's got every single little finger in every single little pie, everyone's backfighting, backstabbing and whatever. That's Welsh rugby. That's it right there in a nutshell. So everyone's fighting against each other, and luckily we're producing like 30 good players for our national team, but it's not enough. Strength and depth isn't there. You go to New Zealand, there's an ex-English rugby player called Dean Ryan, and he was playing top flight rugby in England, and he took some time off and went and played in New Zealand three levels down. Said the first game, went onto the pitch, The whole other team just jumped on him. Kiwis didn't even help him on his own side. And this happened for 4 or 5 games. No one talked to him, no one did anything. It was the hardest rugby he'd ever played in his life. After game 5, he opens his door one morning and there's a gigantic fish just there, all nicely wrapped, all nicely prepared. Goes to training, everyone's talking to him, he's a good cunt. Goes on the pitch, the other team starts, the whole team's behind him, they start kicking the shit out of the other boys. Passed the manhood test. Kiwis are horrible, hard, nasty motherfucking bastards. And this is like the 3rd division. And it was the toughest rugby he's ever played.
I've got to be honest, from a Kiwis point of view, notice how quiet Jimmy's gone over here as well, just because we're talking about the rugby and the humiliation that's actually happened in the last month with the Aussie rugby team. Now, I'm talking about the point margin between the All Blacks.
Mate, unfortunately, I couldn't even tell you who the captain of Australia is. The only thing I know about the Aussie rugby team is that they're a good bunch of lads to get on the drink with.
Oh!
Because we met them in Cardiff back after the World Cup, maybe 2012.
Yeah.
We went to Cardiff and watched that friendly international. And that Shane Williams fella scored a try and ruined a good Australian win.
The last try of the game. That's right. Yeah.
But I think the Aussie team clearly drink too much because they're just not performing at the moment.
They love the piss.
But I mean, being from NZ as well, and supporting the All Blacks, of course.
Yeah.
I think if there's no other team playing, if the All Blacks aren't playing, it's always, and I'm not saying this to blow your smoke, but I've got to say, I've got a lot of love for the Welsh.
Thanks.
I've been to Cardiff multiple times to watch the rugby games there. What's the stadium there?
Millennium Stadium. It's now the Principality, but yeah.
Fantastic stadium.
One of the best
and
in the world.
Welsh are good, they're not like the Aussies where you go out and they glass you. The Welsh are full of hugs and kisses. Sorry, you're going to have that.
It's a bit more old school with them. We're going to have a fight now, boy.
Yeah, no, rugby's a beautiful game. I'm very much with you, Cozzy, and with all. I mean, and Aussie Bar also sponsors the Finnish men's national team. We're the main sponsor, and we sponsor quite a few rugby teams around the country. But I'm passionate about it, of course, because we're trying to build it up. I think we're ranked 93. In the IRB ranking.
We're not the bottom anymore. We're climbing up a little bit. We're doing okay.
Yeah, and ironically with that, just because I'm proud of him, my little baby brother that's twice the size of me, Isaac, is actually the national team head coach.
Yeah.
So, and they've been winning games since he took over. So Finland's hopefully going to start moving. Actually, there's a game, Estonia versus Finland on the 22nd of October here in Helsinki.
Yeah.
So we're going to try and get as much support together for that as possible and head down there. But heading back to the, we've got what's coming up now. We've got this, what do they call it? The Four Nations or
the Autumn Internationals.
Yeah, because you've got the Saffers, the Argentinians, the Aussies, and the Kiwis. What's that called?
That's called
the Rugby Championship.
It's
Rugby Championship.
Yeah.
So that starts. Neil, when does that Rugby Championship start?
It's on.
It's already up.
Yeah.
Well, because they do the Bledisloe Cup into that, don't they?
Exactly. Bledisloe Cup is just basically bragging rights.
That's where we just creamed you guys. Sorry,
But
I'm looking forward to that, and I think the Argentinians as well are doing absolutely sensational at the moment, and I think that's due to, instead of having the Tri-Nations, which was always South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand, because up here in Europe you've got the Six Nations.
Exactly. Yeah.
So by bringing the Argentinians in, which I do believe is still Southern Hemisphere.
They are. Yeah.
I was on the spot. Geographically, I'm not that flash, but
it's quite South America.
Yeah. Jeez, I didn't know. It's
below Brazil.
I didn't even know where Finland was until I arrived and got it out of the atlas. I was like, Jesus, I'm up there. I'm up the top. I think that really has improved their game. Looking at the World Cups that they've been playing, especially the last two. Over the last 8 years, they're really improving, and I think they're a team to watch. And I think the Kiwis, reading an article just recently, the Kiwis are being very mindful of them. The All Blacks.
The Argentinians are looking good, mate. They're tough boys as well. Those Pampas boys.
But they've got a Super 12.
They got the Jaguars Super Rugby.
It used to be Super 12.
So at least they've So they've probably got a lot more experience from playing better players.
That as well,
That's another thing. And I think too, that's what the IRB and the International Rugby Board's actually doing at the moment, is promoting, and this is again why it's brilliant, sending the Rugby World Cup next round in 3 more years to Japan, getting the Asian countries more involved, and goodness me,
Japan are doing unbelievable.
Mate, I'm sorry, I just took the piss out of Jimmy here. At the Olympic Games, the sevens, Japan beat New Zealand.
They
Sorry,
did.
say it, don't spray it.
They did.
They did, and I couldn't believe it. So that Japan's up and coming. I mean, of course, Kiwi coach, I believe, and I think even who's the coach?
Eddie
for
Jones.
Wales?
We got Gatland. Japan
Gatland.
had Eddie Jones, who's now coaching England.
Because John Kerwin used to coach them. Rugby great.
Way back.
Yeah, but I think what's your take on the Six Nations coming up? How do you think? Because I'm always supporting Wales to that.
Well, the fact is that England, unfortunately, are looking really fucking good at the moment.
Really?
Yeah, Eddie Jones has got in. He's got the boys playing well. He's got them fit. They're not on the piss. And they've got a simple game plan.
He needs to go and coach the Aussies.
He did.
He used to,
yeah. He took him to the World Cup.
Yeah.
He took him to the World Cup in '99, and in 2003 he was the assistant coach, and they took him to the final. And in 2007 he got South Africa to the final. Mate, he's just the most horrible, nasty tactical genius. And
that's fantastic.
What he's doing, which in all forms of life, this is something which is really important, is everyone was trying to play like New Zealand, and you shouldn't do that.
No.
What you've got to do is play to your strengths. This is what Aussie Bar does.
Yeah.
We're an Aussie Bar. We play to we do what Aussie Bars do best.
Yeah.
And now, like with Japan, they're now playing much more fast, skillful, high-tempo game, moving away from what the All Blacks
I think
do.
the teams in general globally now are fitter.
Yeah,
and that was
mate.
a problem before, especially before New Zealand went professional. Because one of my greats is Sean Fitzpatrick, one of the greatest captains of all time in my opinion. Fitzpatrick. But he was captain before it went professional. The year after he stood down, he went professional.
Yeah.
And it was illegal to pay the players.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, they get the endorsements.
You get your backhanders on him.
But as soon as New Zealand rugby, we were always. I mean, it's fair to say, whether we like to admit it or not, New Zealand rugby's always since 1987. We've always been classified as number one in the world in the IRB ranking. Always. We might not win every World Cup because it's on the day, sort of thing.
Yeah.
South Africans 1995. They cheated. They poisoned us. The Aussies last weekend put recording devices in the hotels. There's no real excuses, but I'm just saying. But normally we'd win all those games as well. But no, it's rugby is a beautiful sport. I think it does bring people together. We love the third half. We call it. A third half is typically when they're all coming down to the pub.
I've had some of my best nights in Finland here.
Yeah,
it's been amazing. We've had as a Warriors rugby player, we've had our end of season dues in the Aussie club. We've come down here winning the championship, shit faced.
That's the roofies that we put into the drinks.
Yeah, that helps, mate. That helps.
Yeah.
A couple of months ago, the Aussie Bar had its 10-year anniversary party. That was like the last days of Saigon.
But it
was like ancient Rome, mate.
Wasn't
it?
it?
So
and
good.
But it pissed out. I've never seen rain like that in Finland. It was monsoon.
Yeah.
And yet, if we hadn't set up that massive marquee up the front here, we had the jacuzzi, didn't we? And then, but it absolutely pissed down, and yet it was really successful. I was almost crying the morning I woke up because it was a 3 or 4 day event.
I remember,
Excuse me, I nearly died because I'd been planning it for a year.
Yeah.
I wanted to go out with a bang, and it cost a fortune to set it all up, and it was about giving something back to the customers, and sadly it just pissed down. But we got really good attendance.
Oh, it was brilliant. It was rammed the whole time.
Yeah. I think sadly if it would have been finer during the day, we would have got a lot more daytime business and bits and bobs. But it didn't seem to deteriorate the customers.
No. Saturday was amazing. I've never seen so many naked people. It just suddenly devolved into an ancient Roman orgy.
There was a lot of tits and ass and a lot of penis, wasn't there?
Mate, a lot of cock.
No, I don't like advertising that we're a bit of a sausage thing, but there's no sausage really. But that day there was a lot of sausage.
There was a fair amount of cock around.
Funny story. Just I don't want to talk about cock, but I don't.
I got a funny ball story actually, which I wouldn't mind sharing. But yeah.
Go with the ball story first,
dude. When you're in Finland, you didn't have a sauna here, but you do go to saunas.
Yeah.
Fuck. And I was in this public sauna before, and they have a wooden slap bench, and there was this dude sitting in there, and his balls were so low they were below the bench. They were just hanging down. And I was just thinking, mate, if there's a fire, you're going to lose him. He's just going to get up, get him jammed in. They're going to go and you see a lot of heavy low ball sacks when you're in Finland.
But
more than I'm used to.
What do you? I mean, because they've got this unwritten rule in Finland, and it's you're not supposed to steer because they have the mix saunas.
Wales, it's complete opposite.
Well, we are
hell of a cock on you, mate.
You're a great cock. That's Scottish, isn't it?
That's fine.
But I think the fact that I got surprised here because I met one of the world rally drivers. I won't say his name because it's it's public and I don't want to disclose anybody that
This
doesn't
guy?
know, but yeah. No, he actually wasn't a horse. He wasn't a horse, but he invited me to his place, and of course he's got all the other celebrities with him, and I think there might have been some other famous F1 drivers there as well, but no names. And of course all the supermodels. So I'm at this party, ugly fatty. Rock up this party with 20 plus supermodels and all very wealthy sort of a party. And this bird comes out. I've been here 3 weeks in Finland. And of course the sauna's from Finland, as we all know. And this gorgeous, stunning woman comes out, says, boys and girls, the sauna is ready. As if it's like
boys and girls.
Boys and girls. The sauna is ready. And I'm like, and she just went, bloop, bloop, butt stark and naked, middle of the field. Everybody else was just the same. We were a wee bit
All the
juiced.
blokes were like...
And I'm like, oh no. I mean, I'm a grower, not a shower, you know? And I'm like, what do we do? What do we do? So I'm like, fuck, I've got to do this. So, bang. I mean, I've been military and boarding school and everything, but like that, come on.
Like,
I don't even know your name yet.
You're literally going in dry here.
Yeah.
Just like sweet talk.
I want to go and sort of whack it on something first to sort of wake it up. I was a wee shy boy that day. But no, I think the first party we had here at Aussie Bar, we did it was a wet t-shirt competition, and we got all these t-shirts printed up. So just changing topic now, sorry, because I wanted to go back to this.
Well, it kind of links in.
Yeah, well, we were talking about cock and boobs, so let's if we can do this. So I remember actually saying, hey, this is a little bit unfair, because we're going to get these t-shirts made up saying I entered the Aussie Bar wet t-shirt competition. We had a judging panel, and it turned out it wasn't really organised properly, but except we had all the t-shirts and the guy, Isaac, with the super soaker and the rubber gloves on and everything. And everybody that entered it had these t-shirts saying I entered the Aussie, got a free t-shirt, right? And then we had the t-shirt for the winning pair of, you know, the best wet t-shirt competition. And it was an arrow pointing, these won the Aussie Bar wet t-shirt competition. But I said, no, this is wrong. This is sexist. How can we do it just for women? So we had a small cock competition. So we basically bought white underwear, and we had big buckets of ice that we were pouring down their hands. And I tell you what, the woman in the crowd, there would have been 400 to 500 people out there from the main square, and I was panicking. And of course, we had the board of directors from the international company now, and they were all sitting there laughing away, haven't done anything like this before in their lives. And I'm like, we got to pack this up, boys, because it was getting so much attention.
Getting rowdy.
And Isaac had this big megaphone, and oh my god, it was brilliantly done. And for something that wasn't organised, it was a lot of cock and balls in that one, and a lot of.
So what did you win?
Mate,
I think you got a wee bag of goodies and a free t-shirt basically, and I think there was trophies. But it was a really well done, one of the best wet t-shirt competitions I've ever seen.
Didn't you guys used to do Naked Tuesdays? Was that right?
Or? There was Naked Tuesdays, and there was all sorts of stuff you can't do anymore.
Yeah,
and I remember the days where you could naked crowd surf from one end to the other, especially the Rip Curl boys. They were fantastic. But I mean, times are changing. You know, you can get done these days for virtually anything. So you've got to be really careful. And sadly, it does reflect, because it's not so loose as what it used to be.
No, it's still good though, mate. And what I love about this place is like you've got a good mixture. It's not children. It's not boring fuckers. You've got people who come in here who want to chat and have a good time.
Yeah.
You've got some proper characters who come in.
Yeah.
Thorny, love that boy. Love that boy.
I think he's coming in later. He's going to be here about 1 o'clock.
Yeah, he was on the previous podcast.
Was he really?
Yeah.
He's a good lad. I've been good mates with Thorny for a long, long time. Steve Thorny.
Yeah.
He's Welsh too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's Welsh as fuck, mate.
Bloody hell.
And you got guys like Bryn and all the entertainment that you boys bring in.
Well,
as well.
Brynny's played for me for 11 years now. Yeah. So at least once or twice a month. But he's doing really well. He's got his band Los Bastados.
Yeah.
So they've been touring the States recently. But we've got some good musos that are playing here actually. And Neil, actually our bar manager here.
Yeah.
He's a muso. Where did you used to play, Neil? Was it down in Byron Bay? Ely Beach. So
not heard of it.
I think the guy was pretty much hired based on that.
Yeah.
So Neil's been fantastic for us. So he also gets up on because he's just started the live music pretty much 7 days a week now, or 5 days a week. So he gets up on stage and has a jam as well. And he knows how to warm up the crowd as well, which is bloody brilliant. And then he just jumps behind the bar and starts serving. So
Speaking of that,
Neil, can we interrupt? Go for it. Because we've all got microphones on. Can we have 3 more of those? Thanks, mate.
He's a good man.
Look at that. We don't even need to get up.
Mate.
that was a good intro for that.
That was it. Yeah. VIP service, I do appreciate it. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah.
Well, right.
No problem.
Because
stay away from current stuff, not like next week or something. So it's timeless stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Good idea.
Good as gold.
Right.
I was raped.
Mate.
Oh, the boys. Oh yeah. Look at that.
Cheers, mate. Can I finish that? Actually. Is that all right?
Thanks,
Cheers.
buddy.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah. Cheers, buddy.
Dandy.
Thanks, mate. Look at that.
There you go,
Appreciate
then,
it.
boys.
Blowing the froth off a couple,
we are.
mate.
Cheers.
Eh?
So, BJ, you actually, when I first came to Finland, I think that was in 2009-10, that was your last years behind the bar. So you know you had 5 years and then you got kicked upstairs.
That's right. Yeah, I did actually. Well, it was time for it because I think I got here. I think it was 2000.
Yeah.
And as I said, I did the cleaning and we talked about that earlier. But yeah, it was. I think the people, because it was such a small wee bar, it was really, really popular.
Yeah.
People were saying, "Oh, you've got to move bars. You've got to go up to Torquay. You've got to go up north." Da da da. And I was like, "Jesus, I'm a one-man band." Okay, sure, I had a great crew.
Yeah.
But they were working this bar. So how do I do that? I don't speak Finnish. I don't do this, and I'm uneducated, as we also talk about.
Street smarts is all good.
Street smart. Well, here we go. So it sort of made a bit of sense, and the board had said, "Look, what about franchising?" And I didn't know what that was. So I went to the university, not as a student, but I actually ended up helping out my business partners, who's actually a professor there.
Yeah.
And he asked me to take a lecture about the success in being an entrepreneur and stuff like that. So I was like, okay. And I actually got into it. And then I just sat on the back of a couple of other classes about expanding businesses and just business entrepreneurship and to growing businesses. And then I ended up being this lecturer.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing a consultant about franchising. And that's sort of how we got going, similar to McDonald's.
So you did a string of bell from The Wire.
It took a long time, mate, and of course it cost a lot more than what we wanted because, as I said, I was uneducated. I couldn't understand the concept of it until somebody said McDonald's or Burger King. They got a burger, they got fries. It's the same wherever you go.
Doesn't Ronald own all of them?
Eh?
Doesn't Ronald own all of them?
Ronald's a good mate, eh?
Ronald,
But I think with the bar too, the challenges with the bar, it's not a McDonald's. You don't have a burger, a fries, and a drink.
No.
And there's so many moving parts to it. So it has taken us 5 years.
Yeah.
And costed a fortune.
Yeah.
Now every day sometimes I might wake up and say, Jesus, what have I got myself into? Because there's so many elements to it, so many moving parts. And I think now we sort of sit here and go, okay, what it's about now is actually trying to make things simpler.
Yeah.
And
streamline it.
Yeah, if you look at some of the most successful restaurant or hospitality industries out there today, I'm trying to think of one off the cuff, but I can't seem to get one. It's all about you need one thing.
Yeah.
One thing
USP.
that's going.
Yeah.
One thing that's going to. I mean, a friend of mine told me a thing called KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
So have one thing that's good.
Yeah.
Aussie Bar's been formed 10 years ago, so we can't sort of just say what that one thing is yet. But anything I'm now doing, I'm trying to simplify. And it's quite hard taking something complicated with all the same elements, but still try and challenge it channel it into something more simplified.
I think, like, for me, it's the concept is the thing. Like, of course, there's Aussie bars, but it's the fact that you get the experience. Like, there's bars with beers, there's bars with fucking food, there's bars with great sound systems, whatever.
Yep.
I mean, that's hard to differentiate. But I think for me, what I love about this place is it feels like walking into my clubhouse back home.
It's a beautiful day. It's a lovely compliment to hear as well.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. I think too. I was reading an article.
It's the only place I spend money. I've been looking at my fucking bills and it's like, is this Aussie Bar?
But I think the authenticity as well. Like, by having Aussie staff, that's a big factor.
Yeah, thanks. And I think that's a big thing too. And going back to what we talked about earlier about travelling around and they didn't have that in the Aussie Kiwi bars or the Intimidating bars, and it frustrated me.
You've been to walkabouts in the UK.
Well, it's
just shitholes.
And sadly they weren't actually a franchise. I actually know the owner of that as well.
Yeah.
And they weren't actually a franchise. It was owned by one, but there was up to 64 of them at one stage.
Yeah.
And now what's actually happened? I'm better be careful with what I say. I actually know the guy quite well. And we tried to sell our franchise to him because they closed all the walkabouts.
Yeah.
There was the one in Temple in London.
There's still a couple going. There's
they're reopening them. And then if you compare this, just for a minute, and then go to the Walkabout website and see what they've done.
Okay, all right.
I won't say any more on camera about that, but
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've sort of mimicked a few things. But anyway, that's fine.
Interesting.
So, But I think the thing is, I read this article the other week regarding this topic, and it was pretty much talking about different trends and how things change.
Yeah.
And it's kind of frustrating because you got to keep up with the social media trends and what's happening, and what customers want. It's a hard thing, but you've got to do it, otherwise you're going to fall apart.
Yeah.
And this article was talking about how vegetarian meals used to be a speciality thing on a food menu.
Yeah.
Now they're mainstream. You can't. I talked earlier about these water pistols and super soakers we used to do at the start. Squirt you in the face and whatever. Yeah. Now you get done for sexual harassment. Yeah. But you've got to be very careful about what you do. Customers are wanting simplicity. I've also read in an article and a survey that customers actually don't go to nightclubs anymore, even though I own one. Because it's too dark, dingy. And the other thing is too, which is just contradicting everything that we stand for, is customers don't want to go to places with loud music.
Yeah.
Live music's a totally different scenario, but this Friday, Saturday DJ thing, that's apparently, I don't believe it, is phasing out. And that's why we've got a couple of other bars around here. We wouldn't classify them as competitors. They actually don't have music louder than XYZ amount of decibels, and you can still talk.
It's super, but because I've looked into this as well, it's super difficult to get that balance where you actually weirdly a sound system which is low but audible is really expensive.
Well, I agree
because you have to put so many speakers around and everything just so you can get the right ambience levels.
I totally agree with you. And
difficult.
I don't want to name the place, but I will say there's this one bar quite close to us, and all they do is toasted sandwiches. We talk about that one item.
Yeah.
They make their own beers.
Yeah.
And they have a toasted sandwich that's like yay big, and it's fairly reasonable. And they cut it on a half, and it's cheese and ham. Simple, eh?
Yeah.
The music's not loud. They don't do any entertainment, and it's like that place really works. So that sort of proves to me that okay, they're onto something.
Yeah.
So, but Aussie Bar's here to stay. Aussie Bar's here to, we're not going to change the bits and bobs how we run, because there's still people that love it. There's always going to be people that love it.
Yeah. The sport is a huge thing as well.
Yeah.
Huge.
We did talk about that. I actually talked about that. Had a conversation today with our manager Neil. Regarding the sport. When I started this, it was written in the business plan that we would not be a sports bar, and we're not. I've got to be honest. Yes, do we show all the sport? Yes, we do. But we're not. So
you're not Sports Academy?
No. So if you want to watch a World Cup of ice hockey, we'll show all that. They all sort of have all the priorities: rugby first, football second, da 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 da. But then if you want to watch a provincial team play another provincial team in ice hockey, no, we're not going to turn it on. We'll send you off to the sports bar. So in that way, we're not a sports bar. But it's we've got it. I think anything you can do to make people feel more and more comfortable. Like we had a big talk earlier about the rugby and about how the third half is here.
Massive, yeah.
I think I would like to personally say a huge thanks to Finish Rugby, and I mean we've you give a little, you get a bit back, and we've given a lot, but they've given a huge amount back.
I think
to
you
us.
need to specifically thank Paps.
Perhaps I think in general, I think the Warriors Rugby Club and the men's national team, well, the SRL, the Finnish Rugby Federation.
Because you spread really quite far. Because I think initially you sponsored the Warriors, then you went national team, and then now it's most of the rugby clubs in Finland.
Well, it was Tampere and Turku, and then I don't know what we do. I think Turku. I think we are now. And then we're supposed to open another bar up north, and that was Oulu. But there's Porterville Rugby Club here. I'd love to sponsor them. They're sponsored already by a local thing, but they're a great rugby team.
Did you sponsor the Ice Bears?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did last year. I think that sponsorship ended last season,
right?
And we didn't renew it due to other reasons other than the club. I think because of being a nightclub, it doesn't open till 8 o'clock at night. Yeah. And you're finishing your games at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, having to keep it open. So it just wasn't really working. And it turned out all the team were coming here to drink, so it wasn't too fair on the management up there. So, but I think the Warriors have definitely got their heads screwed on. They have done for about the last 10 years, or that pretty much since they've been founded, with that camaraderie that's formed after the game, like the clubhouse thing that we've talked about.
Exactly.
But it's remarkable that they got that right, because I think that's the fundamental foundation for having a good team. I'm not saying go and drink a whole lot of beer and you're going to be a good rugby team, because look at the Aussies. But then look at did you see what I did there?
Yeah, beautiful.
But I do think it's a big part. Camaraderie is everything.
What I also find interesting about this place is that, like, even not even rugby, but like you meet interesting people, and like as a foreigner living here, you start getting opportunities, like because you meet a good guy who's doing something, and because we're all expats in here, you end up helping someone out, and then you've got some business going on. It's a good old place for that.
Yeah, it is, and I do love it.
Yeah.
But I do want to. I don't mean to have taken too much piss out of Jimmy today for being Australian.
That's all good. My mum's born in Cardiff, mate, so it's fine.
Oh, that's great.
And he's half Italian. He's a mongrel as fuck.
Great.
Yeah.
But I actually brought with me today a little piece. If it's all right, I'll read out because I love I've been reading the BBC.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it was just a little wee dig because I mean I don't know about the viewers out there. No, I mean you've got between Finland and Sweden there's a fury between ice hockey and bits, and the Finns love to give the stick to the Swedes and vice versa.
Yeah.
And I think the Aussies and Kiwis do it really well.
Yeah.
Because we actually, it's a love-hate thing.
Yeah.
Mainly focused around rugby, but Kiwis love all the Aussies. We actually don't really think they love us. But we really do, and I think we get along. I mean, Jesus, I've got a bloody Aussie bar. I think all of my best mates are Aussies.
Yeah.
And
Something went wrong, didn't it?
yeah, something did go wrong. But I was reading this article the other day on BBC actually, and it's still available if you search under the BBC website under Australia, and you can see the names.
This is Tasmania.
This
isn't
is
it?
Tasmania, and you can actually go to mainland Australia,
Yeah.
and it's absolutely hilarious. And just a wee bit of history about Australia, if we can.
Yeah.
We formed when we formed Aussie Bar, we thought, what's a marketing thing we can do? And if you go to our website or come into the Aussie Bar, you'll see my face and the other partners' faces, and from tomorrow onwards, you'll see Neil's face. And each Aussie Bar has the manager's face, and we market that person as a descendant of criminals. So, as I don't know, most of you know, but Australia was a prison camp, and I think the British made a huge mistake by sending all the prisoners over to Australia. And you can clearly tell back in the day that it was the prisoners, the uneducated prisoners, that named some of these places. So if it's all right, I'd love to rattle off a couple of these.
Mate, hit me,
This
I'm ready.
is Tasmania. So some of the local places around Tasmania, this is what they call them. Big Bush,
Yes.
Boobs Flat, Crackpot, Dingo Flats, Thrush Forest, we all know what thrush
Yeah,
is, don't we?
mate, the thrush forest. We've all had it. Like it's terrible.
Mosey Nipple Bend,
Don't get lost in the thrush forest.
Goonmore, what's that one?
Granny's gut.
Granny's gut.
Grassy Bottom,
Oh,
Guy's
mate.
Dirty Hole.
I reckon it was just one guy. He was like, I'm founding all these towns.
I reckon it was, I don't know
So
what
you
they...
got long. You got
Long
broad bottom, long bottom,
Deep thought. That's a good one. Deep thought.
Deep Bottom.
lovely bottom.
Why would you call something Deep Bottom?
Well,
what have you been doing to call something that?
Mate, it's
Deep
like
Bottom. Your knees deep.
I can just carry on going.
Yeah. Dangerous Hole.
Dangerous hole.
Dirty Bay.
Ding dong rainforest.
Now, come on. The guy's on LSD calling it that, isn't he?
He's essentially gone right.
But
I'm going to take. It's probably a Kiwi, wasn't it?
It's got to be
I
a Kiwi.
got the naming right.
No, it is a Kiwi because the spelling's correct. Have you been to Aussie?
Yeah, one time.
Have you been to Aussie? If you, like the names there are just like Wollongong and
I'm from Wollongong.
Are you really? Are you really? That's fantastic.
What does it mean?
What does it mean?
No, well, they're Aboriginal names.
Yeah, but what does it mean then? You should know.
No, I'm not really sure.
Oh,
But like all our area is actually Aboriginal names.
Is it literally a piece of wool and a gong? So it's like Wollongong.
No, well, I don't actually think the Aboriginals called wool. I don't even think the Aboriginals had
It's
sheep.
like, oh yeah.
No, they don't know. But it's the same in NZ as well. In New Zealand, we've got, mainly in the North Island, it's all Maori names.
Yeah.
So
I've been
very
to
much
New
similar.
Zealand, yeah.
South Island's very much sort of more English side of things.
Yes.
But great place to go.
Loads of jocks up on the North Island. And you're a Dutchman.
Well, half. I'm a half caste.
Bejay Visser. This is one hell of a name.
Yeah.
This is one hell of a good name, Monica.
How did you end up in Europe and in Finland? Were you cruising around with your New Zealand
Actually,
passport?
no. Actually, ironically, I rocked up to London, did my 2-year working visa there. And back in the day, you could work in any country in Europe, even though the EU wasn't really formed as such back then. I think it was 2000 something when it happened.
Yeah.
But I came over with my Kiwi passport. They kicked me out of the UK. And then what actually happened is I got back to New Zealand, kicking and screaming. They're going to put a black mark on my passport. And the Dutch embassy rang me, because my grandfather was Dutch. And it used to be only first generation Dutch could get a Dutch passport.
Yeah.
So they actually called me and said, Bejay Visser, we've opened it up to second generation.
Second generation.
24 hours later, I was on a plane, back in London, and I had a certificate stating that my Dutch passport was coming. I had a month left on my Kiwi passport, so I went in on that. Got sent the Dutch passport there, and never left.
Beautiful.
So, and that was 99, 2000, early 2000. So, yeah, never looked back. So
are you like second generation or
I'm second generation Dutch, but I don't. And it's horrible too because you get a lot of the Dutch footballers coming in here to watch the games, and they do a big thing once a year over here.
Yeah.
And they come in, and if I'm in the bar, it's horrible because they're like, Visser, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, hey, I might be Dutch, but I don't speak any Dutch. So
I have that problem.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult, but it's working. Actually, I'm very, very, very proud to have a Kiwi passport. I mean, I've still got some family in Holland, but we don't sort of keep in touch that much. But Holland's a great place as well. But my roots are Kiwi.
Yeah, mate, you're Kiwi as fuck.
Yeah,
in a good
you can't
way.
get any more Kiwi.
One thing I'd like to say about going back to the bar a little bit, about like one of the things which I really think makes the Aussie Bar is if you take a look around, all this shit is essentially you have been ripping barns down. This is the proper old school stuff. You go into Finland, you take down these old barns and you use all the materials.
It is. Yeah. I mean, hey, Aussie Bar is a green company. You know, we recycle,
helping Finnish farmers,
but we recycle all that glass because we get money back for it. Yeah. No, but yeah, all the materials. It's three materials really: the old railway sleepers and the milled pine that we just sand right back. Yeah. And actually, I've sanded and lacquered all the bars.
Yeah.
Myself.
I helped you do the Aussie Club actually.
Did you? I helped you did too. Outside we made that coffee table together.
Exactly.
Holy shit! You took ages.
Me.
But it, you know, all the
I did.
it's in corrugated iron, rusted corrugated iron.
Yeah.
Problem is now with expansion and going in abroad, and of course occupational health and safety. You know, it's getting ridiculous.
You can't just throw colo on the roof anymore.
So now we've actually got this.
Which is literally what they were doing.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of colo on top of this 50-foot tall barn, and like half of it's like this.
Yeah.
And colo's up there going,
pulling nails out, ripping the corrugated iron off. I mean, good cheap way to do it. But bottom line is going into Sweden. It's everything's sort of manufactured. It'll feel like it, and we'll just use some real parts of the timber to stick it out.
Yeah.
But every bar will look the same. They'll be designed differently because of the different layout. But I look forward to it, and I do hope I can come back and talk in a couple of months or whenever, and let you know how the Sweden project is going.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah, it will be a really interesting thing.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed.
I got a couple of questions for you. Oh, go on.
That'll be a nice boat ride, won't it? Jumping on the ferry to Sweden.
Mate,
you'd be more
you need to get on a boat. Have an Aussie Bar on a boat.
We could actually put on, book out half the rooms and get a lot of the customers from here.
But I mean, actually putting an Aussie Bar on one of the boats.
I've actually thought about it. Because I've just put a Burger King on one of the cellular lines, which is the cruise ships that go back and forward from Sweden.
The Stockholm one, it would just, the amount of money.
Yeah.
Every night would be Saturday.
Yeah, it'd be wrong, wouldn't it?
It'd be filthy. Everyone would be on that boat. That would be.
It's actually a really good idea. I did think about that a few years ago, and I sort of fell asleep.
This is what happens whenever you bring up a good idea. Whoever you say it to, they're like,
oh yeah.
I did think about that actually.
Then you want to start charging me a royalty.
Yeah.
Mate, it's on camera. That's it. Yeah. It's all done.
Yeah, we're screwed now.
Right, I've got a couple of quick fire questions for you. Worst customer.
Jimmy. No. Worst customer. Here we go. It wasn't so much about what he or she said, what he said. It was a minus.
Boy.
Oh, look at this. Cheers, Neil. Thanks. Don't let my wife see that I'm eating that.
Yeah.
You want one of those?
Diet out the window.
Thanks, Neil. Cheers, buddy. Worst customer was sadly a very drunk Finnish man. It was one of the coldest winters here. I think it was minus 31 degrees Celsius outside.
Yeah.
February. It was dark at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and he was so drunk and he did not understand what I was saying. And the bar was full. I was the only one working behind the bar at that time because it wasn't 6 o'clock. Staff hadn't come in, and I had to kick this guy out.
Yeah.
But you're caught between a nut and a hard plate because he's going to be dead out there in 20 minutes because he didn't have the clothes. But he was just such a disturbance here. You call the police, and that's the problem here in Finland. You call the police stating they're drunk, and they'll say, "Oh, we'll be there in an hour," because it's drunk and disorderly. They don't really care. And fair enough, they've got other things to do.
It's happening in all the other bars.
Well, my house, I rang the cops the other night because I live in a good area in Helsinki, and this guy's trying to break in at 4:30. He was just drunk and thought he had the wrong house. That's the only negative about Finland is the drunks, but they're good drunks. They're not out to harm you.
They're not violent.
They don't hurt you or anything.
Just idiots.
Lovely people. Just a bit drunk.
Yeah.
Not like back home or anything like that. But anyway, I had to kick him out. Most annoying, painful customer I've ever had was him.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad. I had had to bring him back inside. I got him a blanket and a towel and a pillow, and all these customers like, you can't do that. No. Oh, it's like, come on, let me deal with it.
That's beautiful.
So that was probably the worst. And I mean, if we do have other bad customers, it's always sorted out the next day.
Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy's been kicked out. I don't know how many times.
I've never been kicked out. I'd just leave.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've never been kicked out, mate. But yeah, that'd be the worst.
So, craziest night behind the bar?
Ooh, there's been a few of those. I would have to say it was the pajama party. We had a pajama party that got out of hand because you can just imagine what people are wearing at a pajama party.
Yes.
So
I don't wear pajamas.
Well, there was Steve Thorne, in fact, actually wore a bodysuit that looked like he was naked with a big thing. But no, there's some very, very, very attractive women coming in all their lace, and I mean wintertime, so they're wearing the big coats. They get in at the jacket rack, take their coat off, and they are virtually wearing suspenders and all their sexy lingerie. And then there's these other gorgeous people with these little teddy bears and their PJs. And, oh my God. That was one of the nights that sort of got out of control. There was a lot going on.
Time for bed, everyone!
I think to be completely fair,
Lights out.
to be completely fair, that was one night, this is a long time ago, and I wish it sort of did happen now, but I don't think you get away with it. There was over maybe, just without exaggeration, maybe a third of the bar. There would have been 300 or 400 people here.
Yeah.
And we're talking 300 or 400 people. The chairs and tables were out.
Yeah.
And it was like this. There would have been a third of the people in the bar completely nude. And that was mainly at the dance floor area. That was one of those nights, and there was naked crowd surfing, a lot of cock over roof.
Jesus Christ.
It was one of those great nights. There were the hoses on the bars. It was just out of control, and at the end of the night,
your brother would have just sprayed himself in lube and just
to put that in perspective, if this is 100 square meters,
Yeah.
that's 3 or 4 people per
square
meter.
Oh no! I promise you, without a word of a lie, it's not something that I'm very proud of. But back in the good old days, when it was full in here, as I said, all tables and chairs out, you know, you would get rammed in here, and I couldn't never understand it because I personally don't like being like that.
Yeah.
But when you're in the heat of the moment in a party like that, and leaving, you know, when everybody had left at 3 or 4 in the morning, that was knee deep. And just, well, let's not talk about what it was.
Oh dear.
And that was the day when you could smoke in bars.
Yeah.
When they stopped the smoking, of course, there was no smoke smell. So what smells do you think there was?
Yeah, just assholes and pussies. Yeah, exactly.
It was disgusting, and still is. So 3 o'clock on a Friday, Saturday night, morning, you get nothing but the body odour smells, and it is so bad.
Inside of a tramp's underwear.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's nasty. But that was probably one of the craziest. There's been many of them, so that was just one that pops to mind.
Yeah.
But some really good nights in here.
Most annoying member of staff?
Probably my brother. Just because
He's a lovable rogue.
He's my brother.
Yeah.
No, he's very, very good at what he does. But we're brothers.
Yeah,
I'll just
that's
leave
it.
it like that.
Yeah.
He's my brother. We actually, I'm not talking bad about him if he ever does watch this, but we had a staff member who was a professional stripper. And,
has he left, is he?
Yeah, he has left. He's actually working in another place, Aussie Bar up north.
Yeah.
And he's actually into, just say it, make the story good because it's true. He makes pornos. So, and he's a bit full on. And this guy is he's brilliant. Love him to bits. So, is he annoying? No, because he's efficient, he's full on, but my God. You think I talk fast and loud and boisterous, he is just mental. So, but no, I'd say it's my brother because we're brothers. And now there's a bit of a competition because he's doing really well up in Tortola as well and does a fantastic job, and he just knows how to run a good business.
Mate, the boat is, it's just legendary, that place.
It's pretty insane. It'd be nice to film up there one day as well.
Yeah, I'd love to get up there.
Next summer it would be
we could
really
go on
nice.
safari.
Spend a bit of time on that boat.
He actually threw a pirate off yesterday. So yeah, he rang me up. I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I can't talk. There's 6 fire engines and 4 cop cars here." And I said, "What are you doing?" Because I had to throw a pirate off the boat. Off the boat.
That happened when I was working.
There's so much backstory I need to know. There's so much backstory.
We had a pirate once when I was working at the Aussie Bar in Tortola.
So what do you mean, someone like trying to board the boat or something?
I think the staff are so drunk that they go, "There's a pirate!"
I think we were having 1 or 2 after work beers, and somebody jumped because there was a gate. Somebody jumped onto the boat.
So somebody comes in, no entry.
And it was literally walk the gangplank sort of thing.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. Really, really good fun. But they were some good old days, eh?
Yeah.
That was the old boat before the other one.
What's the name? Yeah, what's the name of this boat?
This one, right, have you seen the movie Forrest Gump?
Yeah.
Right, we called it Jenny.
Yeah, Jenny.
So we even copied the font. But no, it's called, everybody refers to it as Aussie Bar, but the boat's actually called Jenny. So we wanted to call it Bindi.
Bindi.
From the Crocodile Hunter.
Okay.
Yeah, but we couldn't be bothered with all the logistics of writing to him. So, well, he's dead, but his wife. Steve Irwin's wife. So.
That's right.
Yeah.
Bindi's the daughter, isn't she?
Bindi is the daughter.
Bindi's
That's
the
right.
daughter,
What's the wife's name?
She's American.
But Bindi's quite hot now. Have you seen how hot Bindi is?
Oh, I'm gonna have to.
Bindi's
Okay,
like
I'll have to have a look later.
Yeah. Bindi's very hot.
Bindi's 12. I'm getting
No,
in trouble for saying
Bindi
that.
was 12
She
like
can't be
10
12.
years ago. 20 years ago,
He
Bindi
died
was
like
12.
10 years ago, didn't he?
Yeah.
Actually, it was just the
She
10-year
was
anniversary.
12
Yeah.
like 10 years ago, dude.
Funny.
Sick.
What? So, like, there was a boat before Jenny, wasn't there?
Yeah, we bought that. We got conned, and then we did a legal case and all this stuff. It just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And long story short, it had holes in it and it was sinking. But the worst thing, the funny story behind this boat, which we got the Lulu. We got the divers in, eh?
Yeah.
So there's my brother and this other Navy SEAL diver who, do you remember South African Ben?
Yeah.
Brilliant
South
guy,
Bend.
right?
Unbelievable.
So all in their dive gear, everything, jumping off the river, the bank of what do you call it, Aotearoa in Tōrako. Jump in, all the diving gear, divers off board, jump, boom. Knee deep. I think they jarred their bloody vertebrae because they had all the weights. And they just got loop into the mud in the bottom, and there was bicycles and everything, because the boat is actually because the river does rise and fall.
It just sits in a groove, I guess.
So the bottom of it was rotted. So basically, we talked to the Finnish Navy, and they decided to we'll use the boat as a training exercise. So they took it out to the sea and blew it up. Do you think we got paid for that? No. So it cost me. I think it cost us nearly 80 grand just to get rid of the boat.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but it was a lot cheaper than what it could have been.
Yeah.
So we got screwed on. So we built a new one, and it was literally incredible. A great experience. The PowerPoint from it. There's a video. This random stranger, because all this occupational health and safety, you got to wear your visibility vests and your hats.
Yeah.
So, but every day through this build for 2 months, the main part of it, this really random old guy was coming on the boat with his phone.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was like this, one of these Where's Wally books sort of thing. This guy went unnoticed. And everybody, we were all sort of like, I'm one of the owners as well, but he must be with somebody. And my brother thought the same, and everybody else is thinking, this guy. And eventually one day we said, who are you?
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm just here taking photos. And you go, who do you work for? Which government agency or city council, Kolponki person do you work with? No, nobody.
That's so
So
Finnish.
that was the end of it. We didn't ask anymore. So we just let him keep coming on. He didn't have any safety gear on or anything, so we could have got in trouble.
Yeah.
In the end, this guy edited this film. It's like an hour-and-a-half film DVD of every single day of the boat build.
That's quite cool.
And he documented. We didn't even know he was doing it, and he sent us it. And we were like, I got goosebumps talking about it because it's really cool. Because actually, my mother came over and my stepfather came over, and it was me, my mum, my brother built this boat.
Mum, I built the boat.
We didn't build the structure of it,
Doesn't matter.
but we did the inside. And it was Mother's Day last year. I actually was putting the bamboo down in the nightclub because we got a bit of a what do you
Tiki
call it?
bar.
Tiki bar.
Yeah.
She's holding a piece of bamboo with her foot, and Mum's a bit of a joker. I got the nail gun and went ba-bang, and she went white as a ghost. I said, "What's wrong?" She goes, "You shot me in the foot." Mother's Day. I said, "No, I didn't," and pushed her, and she went, foot stuck to the ground, went straight through her big toe.
No.
Oh, Mother's Day last year. Yeah, happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, Mum. So I never got to live that story down for a bit of years.
Ever?
Well, until this
Ever?
Mother's Day, yeah. But she's a good lass. She's a hard-working woman, and
That's amazing.
Hi, Mum. But and my stepdad as well.
Oh man,
Paul,
I shot my mum in the foot.
Oh mate, it was.
I can't say I've ever done that.
No.
There's a moral.
Yeah.
Don't play around with nail guns.
With your mother.
Your brother is fine, but
But it was that's one thing I'll be happy to bring up again. It's quite hilarious now that we look back on it. And she's a good character with it. So.
Exactly, yeah, and it's it's all in jest anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, no, it's good stuff. Bejay, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
I wish we could just talk for a couple more hours and drink some more beers, but maybe I think we should be doing this again sometime soon. I really enjoyed myself.
Maybe we can do it in one of the other bars in Tōrako or something like that.
You're more than welcome, guys.
Yeah.
And truly, thanks for having me.
No problem.
Really enjoyed it. And
tell people where they can find the bars. How do people
look? You can just go online to www.aussiebar, spelled AUSSIE bar.net. and you can find out all about franchising there. Also the bars we've got here in Finland, and staff profiles, all sorts of things that we're doing. And we're hopefully launching our Aussie Bar application early next year.
Beautiful.
So go online, have a check us out, and if you're in Finland, if you're in Finland, you should be down here anyway. But if you're travelling abroad and coming over here, please call in and see us, and ask for us by name, and we'll be pleased to serve you. But Jimmy and Cozzy, thank you very, very much, mate.
No problem, man. No
Jimmy,
problem.
Cheers, buddy.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I'd love to come back. So
Yeah, we'll definitely do this again. We'll book this in definitely safari time.
Been fun.
Yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. Remember to like and subscribe. The links are all below, and we'll be seeing you soon. Later.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Hooroo.